it's a huge welcome to Clan Chat this week from me, as we're going to be discussing all things Glasgow Clan in this episode. No Jerry and no Kevin this week, so they've got the week off, so it's just me and my special guest this week, our very own Chief Operating Officer, as well as being a long-suffering sports fan. Well, you would be if you supported Sunderland. It is, of course, Gareth Chalmers. Gareth, welcome. Great to have you on this week. How are things where you are?
Not bad. Still working from home, 12 months on, but yep, all good.
Now, I'm sure fans will be interested to hear what you've got to say on some of the topics we're going to cover in this episode. But I would say things are certainly a lot more positive than they were, certainly, say, 3 months ago. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think as we've progressed over the last couple of months, I think it's obviously with the vaccine rollout and cases starting to reduce of the virus, it's starting to look a lot more positive, isn't it? It's certainly a bit of hope and positivity that we can all hang our hats on and hope we can move forward.
Now, we've got a list of things I want to get through today, but, it's now over a year since we last played at home, a 2-0 loss to Manchester Storm on the 28th of February 2020. And on Sunday, the 7th of March, it'll be a year to the day since our very last game so far, the 4-3 overtime win against the Dundee Stars. How do you look back over the last 12 months and everything you've come through to get to this point?
Well, let's not beat about the bush. It's been an extremely difficult 12 months in terms of where the club's come from and where we've had to take it to. Like a lot of business and sports organisations, it's been a battle for survival. There's no two ways about that. It's we've had to really look at what the club's doing on a day-to-day basis, from income to expenditure, and we've really had to work hard to make it work for the club. It's been a battle for survival, and 12 months down the line, we're still here, which is the main thing. It's been a big learning process on so many levels. But it's been an interesting period, and it's thankfully for all the support that we've had of the fans and sponsors. It's looking more positive as the days progress.
I want to ask, what are the biggest lessons you've learned? I mean, just how difficult is it to run a sports club that isn't actually doing anything in terms of what they should be doing?
It's a good question. It's I think we've been very active on social media and doing shit off the back, 50-50 draws, just really trying to keep the fan base engaged. It's allowed us to step back and really look at what the club's been doing on a day-to-day basis, what new initiatives we can put into place. I can give you some examples now. We've talked about, we've discussed, and I've considered and probably going to pursue launching an esports team, just as a different aspect of the club. It's also allowed me to have a look at what we can do with merchandising. Our merchandising is so big. Surprisingly, we export so much merchandise into North America these days, and also into Europe. Germany, France is a big market for us. So we've been able to step back, have a look at different aspects of the club, where we can grow away from just what's happening on the ice to growing the club off the ice. So it's been there's been a lot of positives to come out of that, and it's that'll put us in a good position going forward for the future.
Well, that kind of covers my next question. It was regarding what you said a few months back about taking stock and using this time to try and improve the club, coming up with new things. Are you satisfied you've identified the areas you want to improve on and what you want to implement?
Yeah, but I still think it's an ongoing process. Obviously, a lot of it hangs off various different situations that we're in, i.e. the arena. But you are looking every day at what aspect you can improve. We listen all the time. We get emails, we get telephone calls of fans giving us feedback. Ticketing, website, the e-commerce, the merchandising side. So there's been various different areas that we're wanting to have a look at, and we'll continue to do that. And it's just there's a lot to be rolled out still, to be honest. But it's going to probably happen over the next 6 months rather than it happening right now. So it's, the next 6 months should be an exciting time for me, for the club, and for the fans, which is a good thing.
Now, as we said at the start, things seem to be a lot more positive in ice hockey right now. The NIHL have got the Spring Cup, which has been underway for a couple of weeks now. North Cup and South Cups are either starting or about to start. And of course, earlier this week, the Elite League announced that there's going to be the Elite Series. 4 teams will all play each other in Nottingham to get some action going. I think a big help to Pete Russell and the GB team as well. Undoubtedly a good thing in serving as encouragement that we can get started in September. Considering where we've been in the last year, how big is this for UK ice hockey?
It's a huge step forward. Let's see. It's just to even just get some level of professional hockey back is a major positive for the sport in the UK, for the governing bodies, and obviously for the Elite League. It's been it's obviously very encouraging to see the leagues below going, the National League and National League North and South having competitions. So, I think there was some apprehension of, a couple of weeks ago whether it would happen or not. But thankfully it has happened. It's a major positive for us going forward. It gives us something, to build on. I'm sure all 10 teams would like to have been involved, but it isn't to be. And the other positive is obviously we've got GB going to Latvia in May for the World Championship. So it gives the British players an opportunity to get some ice time, which is the most important thing.
Now, I know you speak to Pete quite often. I don't know if you have done, certainly in the last week or so, but this is a huge deal for him. The fact that he's basically going to get his squad all together and maybe get a chance to see them firsthand of who's coming. Have you spoke to Pete about it, and how excited is he for the opportunity for these players?
Yeah, I speak to Pete most days. To be honest, I have we exchange WhatsApp messages and messages going backwards and forwards. So since he's been in Freiburg, I've always kept in touch with him. So yeah, I think he's obviously it's GB being at the top level of the World Championships has been a major positive for everybody involved in the sport. So I think it's another opportunity for him to gain more experience with there being no relegation this year. There's no pressure there. It allows him to look at these players again, and I'm in no doubt he was in the best case scenario he was wanting to play. So it's great that we're in a position where the British players can get some ice time and then obviously go to the Worlds and hopefully do us proud again.
Now, a few British players in the clan ranks, of course. Matt Hayward, the captain, Craig Peacock as well, has been around the club for a while, and he's never really far away from the GB squad. I assume if they were to get picked up by one of the English teams in the Elite Series, they would go with your blessing. Yeah,
for sure. When this tournament was, when this format was initially discussed back in September, October, I've kept up to date. I've kept the British players up to date with what's going on. Tried to explain the situation, how things were unraveling. Obviously, looking back to last July, August, there was discussion that the Elite League might go ahead. So they've been fully kept up to date. If it's in their best interests and our best interests that they do play in this tournament. They've already not played in 12 months, which for professional athletes, it's not the most suitable situation. So it's in our advantage and their advantage if they can get some ice time with another team. So I've encouraged them. It's up to them whether they want to play. Obviously, some guys have got jobs, they're not able to commit. They've got family situations, which is understandable. But if they can play, we would obviously support them and encourage them to do that. And obviously, if they do play and we come back in September, fingers crossed, they've had games under the belt and they'll not have been sitting out for 18 months, which would be the worst case scenario.
I'm curious as well because of the draft that they're talking about and guys like Peaks and Woody could be involved if they decide they want to play. Some people might be worried that if a player plays for one of those 4 clubs, that they might end up staying there. I mean, it is effectively a short window for these guys to just remind everybody what they're capable of. Are there safeguards in place if these guys decide to go that they will come back to the clan, or is it basically just an open market? Just it's entirely up to them.
Well, I suppose like any player not under contract, it's up to them. But we've got the club have got a very good relationship with the British players. They're very well looked after here. And I know from speaking to the 4 or 5 that we've got, that all want to come back and play for the clan. They're fully up to date with what our ambitions and plans are for the future. So I'm sure that'll put us in a good situation when we start talking to them about the new season. So to answer the question, I'm not worried.
Fair enough. Now, as the 4 English teams taking part, and I think that the whole government money thing's been well documented about the process that you have to go through. Is it fair to say this was a non-starter for the clan from the start? Would you have liked to have been involved ideally, or had you just concerned yourself with just getting ready for September?
Yeah, I would love to be involved. Me personally, I'm I can't wait to get a team back on the ice and get back in the rink. We looked at it, studied it, last September, October, about whether we could take part in a mini series. Obviously, we've got a couple of hurdles. We don't have any. At the time, we didn't have any ice at the arena. As things have transpired, is that everybody will have seen it's going to be in Nottingham this tournament. But it just didn't add up. And then when we started talking extensively to the Scottish Government and Sports Scotland, it was, the focus has been very much getting the Scottish clubs through the new season. The level of funding wasn't there for us to play. So when that became apparent, it was a no-brainer just to focus on the future and put the club into hibernation until we could start playing again. So love to have played. It wasn't an option in the end, but I do wish all 4 teams the best. It's exciting for them. It's exciting for the management, staff, and players of those teams, and I'm sure we'll follow suit when it comes.
Now, you mentioned Sports Scotland there. That brings us on to our next topic. One of the big issues clubs like the clan and everyone else has faced has funding. I've already said that. And I appreciate you can't say too much because I know the application is still ongoing. But tell us about how important the government help was during such a time and has been to get to this point a year on.
Well, I think one of the positives that's come out of the last 12 months is we didn't really have a relationship with the Scottish Government or Sports Scotland, to be frank. When the pandemic hit last year, around about May, we reached out. Omar Pasha and I reached out to Sports Scotland and had a couple of chats with them. They've been extremely supportive. They've, I think, from their perspective, they've had a bit of an eye opener about how big the sport is here. So we've got a mutual understanding of what we can provide to them and what they can provide to us. So through Sports Scotland, the Scottish Government have been very supportive. They're fully aware of the 3 professional sport clubs in Scotland. So I think it's a major positive for the future that relationship's grown. They're now fully aware of what we are and what we'd like to do in the future. And I can only see that relationship and with Sports Scotland and the Scottish Government, blossoming and progressing in the future, which is a major advantage for us.
Are you able to tell us anything about the clan's application? About, are we likely to get a decision on it anytime soon? If it's a grant or a loan, are you able to share any of that information?
Yeah, so at elite league level, it was quite public knowledge. We applied to DCMS last year for funding for the whole league. What started to transpire quite quickly was because of the devolved government situation, DCMS had passed out information on to Sports Scotland. Likewise, Sport England, Sport Northern Ireland, and Sport Wales handled, Belfast, Cardiff, and the English teams. So we started having a lot of correspondence with Sports Scotland. They asked us to pull together various different plans for the future, cash flow forecasts, budgets, etc. We presented that information to them, and we should have an answer pretty imminently. We've been quite heavily involved with them over the last couple of weeks, so we should know relatively soon, which is it's a good situation to be heading into right now.
Definitely, let's hope It's the news you want to hear. Excellent stuff. We'll move on to next topic, a new coach. Now, I know that's something that the fans will be very interested to hear about. The Purple Army will be in tenterhooks on this one, I'm sure. Now, Zach Fitzgerald, of course, left the post last April. So are you now finally and officially signalling the start of the process for a successor for him?
Yep, the exciting news is that we've started the process, which is certainly exciting me. It's something I enjoy doing. I wish we just didn't have to do it so often. But yeah, we started the process. We've already got the ball rolling. Spoke to some agents, spoke to some candidates. So the process has started, and the ball is rolling, so to speak.
Excellent. We'll ask a bit more about the process in a minute, but have you had interest in the role already? Has somebody put their head above the parapet and says, no, that's a job I fancy, stick me on your list?
Yep, it's the same every year. We get bombarded by coaches looking for jobs. It's like anything, you get contacted by agents and you get contacted by players and coaches just sounding clubs out to see if they're looking. But one thing I will say is we're never short of candidates every year. I get emails, I get WhatsApps, I get text messages all the time of coaches, and then it's the good thing about the Clan is I've said this before, the club has a very good reputation around the hockey world. People want to be here. We'll look after our players, we look after our head coach as well. So it certainly works in our advantage. So people want to come here, and we've already got a list already of a couple of candidates or more than a couple of candidates. Sorry, we've got a list of candidates already who are interested in the job. So yeah, there's people that have reached out, and time will tell whether they're the right candidates or not.
Right, so let's find out about this process then. You've already got a list. I expect you might get a few more applicants maybe on the back of this. Tell us about your process. Have you got a timeline in place that you want to get through? Whittle the candidates down, get to a final 3, final 5, interviewing and everything? How do you do it?
Yeah, so generally what happens is I'll have a criteria. I've got a criteria in my head of what I think I want from a head coach. I'll compile a list, which we do every time we look for a head coach. So the list could be 100 head coaches, it could be 50. We'll shortlist that down on the criteria that we'll have, experience, where they've coached, what the background is, etc. And then we'll probably, get that down to maybe 5 to 10 guys, getting an interview process with them, just get to know them personally, what they're like off the ice, do our homework on them behind the scenes, speak to former teams, players that have played for them, then come to a decision. In terms of timeline, I don't like to put a deadline on the process. It's important that we get the right guy for the club, the right guy to bring us the success that we want, and however long that takes is what it will be. One thing I will say though is obviously if the season does start in the autumn, it would be an ideal situation where we can have somebody appointed hopefully by May, early May, late May, maybe early June at the latest, just so we can get the process started of recruitment. Obviously, we're in a totally different world now with how recruitment's going to work, and depending on when the season's going to start. So the sooner the better, and but I think that'll be April, May, June is when we'll have a better idea of what we've got.
So tell us about the qualities you're looking for in a coach. You mentioned that the criteria there. I'm just wondering if you're maybe going to go down a different route, insofar as whether you prefer a coach with elite league experience. That's something maybe one or two guys in the past certainly haven't had. What is your criteria, if I can ask that?
Coaching in the UK is a very niche situation. Let's just try and say that niche. Yeah. I've found out I've been involved in the sport a long time, and one thing I do think I always look for somebody who's got some experience of the league here. It's very different to leagues in Europe, very different to leagues in North America, just because the mentality and the format of the league here is a lot different. Obviously, in Europe and North America, the sport's very focused on the playoffs. That is the ultimate there. So regular season in a lot of these places isn't a priority, where here it is. There's pressure on the head coach to win every single game. Obviously, we've got our knockout formats are different, where you've got a two-legged knockout format instead of the best of 7, best of 5, best of 3. And some head coaches, if they haven't played or coached in the UK, find that very difficult to get their heads around. So when we're looking for somebody that does come into play, elite league experience, I do like guys with a bit of character. It's important to have character and the right personality. These guys, they're the front of the club. They're the captain of the ship, so they've got to show leadership and have that spark for the rest of the organisation. And the other huge thing that is so important here is recruitment. You have to have experience of recruiting somewhere down the line, whether it's recruiting a team or whether it's having the contacts. 50% of a head coach's role here is recruitment. If you don't get your recruitment right, you're onto a bit of a hiding, and it's very difficult to turn it around. And especially a mid-budget team like ours, we don't have the money just to make 4, 5, 6 changes a season. It just you've got to get it right during the summer. It's they're the main attributes that we look for. Obviously, we want to win. It's time we won now, and so I would like to try and find somebody that can take us on to that next step of winning something, and then bringing the success that the organisation and the fan base deserve, because I do believe it's now time.
Wouldn't it also be nice to have a coach who stays longer than a year? Apart from Ryan, every other coach has only stayed for a year and gone again. Surely that must be good. That would be good for you.
Yeah, thanks for reminding us of that, Craig. Without a doubt, it's continuity is key to success. Where I more so than anybody, I know that, and it's been embarrassing, if I'm honest, and frustrating to change coaches so many times. Obviously, Ryan, when I joined the club, Ryan was here, and he was here for 4 years, done a fantastic job, and we decided to move on from him. And in hindsight, if Pete hadn't had the fantastic opportunity that he had in Germany, Pete, in no doubt, would have still been here. So we do need to find some continuity. We do need to find somebody that we can have here for a period of time. If you look at all the top teams like Belfast and in Cardiff, they always keep their head coaches for a number of years in the bigger scheme of things. So we need to find that. We need to find somebody that is going to be bought into the ethos of the club and what direction we want to take it in. So I think whoever we bring in, it's an exciting role for them. I think it's an ambitious role for them. We just need to make sure we get the right appointment and get the right guy that's going to take us on to bigger and better things.
Now, you spoke about having someone with the experience of having played or coached here in the past, and I accept that every coaching appointment is going to be a gamble. But would you say it's a bigger gamble for someone who's come in fresh, who's never experienced the UK game before? Yes,
definitely. It's that's what I was trying to allude to before. It's such a difficult task getting the right coach. I've had people ask us before, why don't you go and get a guy out of the East Coast Hockey League in the States? Why don't you go and get a guy out of the American Hockey League? It's simply not as easy as that, because there's numerous factors that not force us into situations, but kind of mold us into the route that we'll go down with a head coach, which is number one is budget. Head coaches generally in North America make a lot more money than what they can here. And people may ask, well, why don't you go and spend more money on a head coach? It's just simply not feasible for us, because you would be taking money out of the team, out of the club elsewhere. So it's important that while it's important that we do get the best candidates, you've got to be sensible of what you go for. So if you look around the league over the years, that's why a lot of head coaches, have been players in the league, have progressed into a head coaching role. You just need to look around the league over recent years, like Belfast Adam Keefe, Cardiff Andrew Lord, Nottingham Tim Wallace. Those guys have all been Omar Pasha and Dundee. All those guys have been players here, and they've progressed into that head coaching role, and that's purely down to budget. It's purely down to teams and organisations wanting a guy that's seen the league and understands what the league is about. And that's been no different with us. That's ultimately that's one of the reasons why Fitzy got the job here. We thought he was a good candidate, and he'd been in the league a couple of years. He was the sort of character that I was looking for, and he ticked a lot of boxes for us. And do I see that changing in this process? No, but possibly. It's all about getting the right candidate. If you look at Sheffield as an example last year and Aaron Fox. I knew Aaron before he got the Sheffield job when he was in Zagreb, and he was GM there, and then coached the team for a season. So there could be guys like him as well. He's recruited as a GM and obviously had a little bit of experience as a head coach. So if you're lucky enough to find a guy like him and he fits within the budget of the club and ticks all the boxes, a guy like him could be a possibility. I'm not saying Aaron Fox is an option, because obviously he's not.
Yeah, let's rule that out.
Let's just rule that out straight away. But yeah, somebody in a similar situation to him, or a former player could be an option. As I say, it's just getting the right candidates with the right ambition, who ticks all the boxes, various different boxes that we've got to tick here, and then the decision's made and we start rolling forward.
Got an idea for you. Let's just come to me. Why don't we interview the candidates here on Clan Chat in this prism? We can even try and lure them with Kevin's bar. What do you think? You up for that?
Honestly, I think Kevin's bar would sell it for everybody. As soon as the head coaches saw the array of alcohol available at Kevin's bar, they'd be straight here.
There we go.
Wouldn't even have to negotiate a deal. It would just get it across the line.
There we go. Can't wait to visit his bar for real. That'll be good.
Yeah, I've said the same one recently as well, so I'm looking forward to that.
So, just in general club terms, then we've seen a steady stream of sponsors. That's easy for me to say. They've been announced in the last few weeks. It must be great knowing that you've got the support of these companies, who I dare say themselves have felt the pinch over the last year or so. It must be great still having them on board.
Yeah, without a doubt, it's been very humbling, to be honest. It's obviously the premature end to last season, the 2019-20 season it hit us hard in so many ways. Like every other club and a lot of businesses, we were left with a huge shortfall. Obviously, we lost 3 Elite League home games and a possible playoff game. It also left us, in a situation where some sponsors weren't able to pay up, on their agreements, which is very understandable in the climate. So we decided to come up with this Together We Can campaign, really just to galvanise support from the fan base and from sponsors and partners to get the club through the period. And in fairness, the sponsors have been absolutely outstanding. They've all stepped up. Looking around the league, I don't think many clubs have done that. We've been lucky where we've got a very loyal and bought-in sponsorship base. And through the work that Jerry's done, he does an excellent job on that side. He's really got them rally behind us, and they support what he's doing and support what I'm doing. So it's been a really positive, and obviously people have seen that we announced Asprey Glasgow West as a title sponsor, which has been absolutely huge for us. So thank you to John and everybody at Asprey for that support. And it's as I said before, it's been very humbling and very positive for the future. And thank you to each and every one of them. It's certainly helped in so many ways.
It's a good thing Jerry's not here. His head will be growing like that right now. With the great work he's done.
We'll keep it quiet from him.
So with that in mind, obviously we're hoping for a September start. Fingers crossed for that. And also in the background, as everybody was aware, there was a takeover issue with Intu and Braehead with the shopping centre and the arena as well. I dare say you've had many dealings with the new owners. How are things going with that, and how are things going generally, really, in that front?
Yeah, we've had quite a bit of correspondence and discussions, various different Zoom meetings with the shopping centre since it was taken over. I think in my last clan chat I alluded to, it wasn't a surprise to us. We'd been aware of this situation as a possibility for a period of time. So we were prepared for it, so to speak. It didn't come as a surprise. We've up until Scott Martin had left the arena and gone on to his new position, we'd kept in regular correspondence with him. I had various different Zoom meetings with him. Obviously, there's been a process of change going on there with the new ownership, with Global Mutual taking over the run of the shopping centre. So discussions are still ongoing. They've been positive. There's obviously, I think they appreciate what the clan brings to the shopping centre as a whole in terms of footfall and the excitement of having a professional sports team in there. So the discussions have been positive. There's a lot going on behind the scenes that we can't really talk about right now. It's a delicate situation. Obviously, they're still coming out of that crossover of the administration process from into the new ownership. So that's still very much at the forefront of what's going on there. But I'm excited. I'm positive, and looking forward to the future is what I'll say. There's still some issues and situations, subjects to be resolved, but don't see it as a negative at all. We're quite buoyant about the future.
Excellent. And of course, I think the process really can start now about rebuilding the club, getting the support back. It's, you can only do so much online. We've been doing these clan chats now for just under a year. The clan classics have been going strong. How do you integrate that into the working club? When you get players back in, are you able to do that? Is that something you'll maybe look at later on?
Yeah, yes, because the way I'm looking at the situation at the moment is when I joined the club in 2013, I had hit the ground running. Obviously, Kirsty had left in the September, and I don't think I joined until the October, from what I can remember. So I see this as a bit of a clean slate. It's an opportunity for me to change certain areas of the club that I want to change. It's almost like starting again. We don't need to start again because the club that we built was very good. We'd moved from being a loss-making club in the early years to a very sustainable club in the latter years. A club that we should all be very proud of. A lot of people had written off ice hockey in Glasgow from day one, and we're sitting here 10 years later with a club that's done phenomenally well, turned heads around the hockey world on so many levels. Obviously the biggest disappointment's been not winning something. I do think we should have won something by now, the size of the club what we are at. And that needs to be changed for the future. Ultimately, the way we need to change things, and I need to drive this forward, is this organisation needs to become a winning organisation. It's time to compete for trophies. It's time to win trophies. We want to compete at the top of the league. I want that. There's nothing more than that I want. I want to do well here. We want to bring silverware back for the fans, and we need to implement change that's really going to push that forward and make that happen. So, I've got a lot of boxes to tick and a lot of situations to resolve, which is head coach, players, obviously probably make some change to the staff and off the ice and bring some new people in. So it's an exciting time for me. It's more about building on what we've done in the past and moving forward that. But I cannot wait. And over the next 6 months, it should be an extremely busy time for me, but also a very enjoyable and positive time.
One final question before we go. What will it mean to you, whenever it's going to be, 6 months, 9 months, however long it's going to be? The numbers are coming down. The vaccine appears to be working so far. What will it mean to you to see a full Braehead Arena again, with a team on the ice, everybody singing their hearts out, and all that goes with a match night experience? What would that mean to you?
I would love nothing more. That I've been here for coming up 8 years in October, and the club is very. I'm 24/7. Like it's in the blood, so to speak. If that's it's I love working for the club. In a lot of ways, it's my club. I'm running it. I'm in it 24/7. I live it during the day. It's in my mind before I go to sleep at night. So yeah, I think I think we've all realised, and I'm sure the fans will agree with this, we miss it so much. It's not just a sports club; it's a way of life for people. People socialise, the friends go to games. It gives people enjoyment when we win. It gives people frustration when we lose. But it's very much part of all of our lives, and I know I'm like everybody else. I'm so desperate to get it back. I want to see the building full. I want to see us beating Fife every week again. It would be nice to beat Fife every week. And hear the Purple Army again. And we've got one of the best atmospheres in the country. And everybody you speak to around the sport talks about our atmosphere in Braehead and what the Purple Army generates. So I'm pining to get those days back. I just want it back now. I just want to do it now, and hopefully come the autumn we'll be able to do that all over again, and push on into the next 10 years, the next decade of the clan, which will hopefully bring success if I've got anything to do with it.
Excellent. And there it is. It's official Purple Army. Gareth Chalmers bleeds purple. You heard it here first.
Yes. yes, definitely.
Right, we'll just wrap things up. We'll tell you about the shirts off the back draw this weekend. It's the Creation IP sponsored shirt off the back. Of course, it's now live. You could be winning a 10-year anniversary Jade Galbraith, Tim Wedderburn or Jordan Kristanovich jersey. Further details of the draw can be found on Clan social media. Clan Classics this weekend. I mentioned at the top of the show the last game of last season, that 4-3 overtime win. Oh, spoilers, against the Dundee Stars. That's our game on Saturday. That's at 7 p.m. on the Clan YouTube channel. That's all from us this week. A huge thanks to Gareth. Gareth, a final word to the Purple Army before we shut off here?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for all your support. It's been hugely appreciated. Everything from 50-50 draws, shirt off the back draws, auctions, merchandise sales, emails, phone calls, everything, people reaching out. It's been massively appreciated. It's been very humbling, greatly appreciated by everybody connected with the club, and we can't wait to see everybody back in the arena.
Perfect. So thanks for coming on, Gareth. Great to hear from you. As always, stay safe, everybody. Keep socially distant, wear your masks, and hopefully, it won't be that long until we're back together in Braehead Arena. But we'll catch you next time on Clan Chat. Take care of yourselves. Bye for now.